You can get what you want. This is something I want to stress, is that you can get what you want. But for most of us, that does not mean that all you have to do is snap your fingers and hocus pocus, presto, you've got what you want. That's not how it works for most of us, although it does work that way for a few people. A few people with power and money go through their lives with this sense of entitlement that all they have to do is snap their fingers and they can get what they want. But that's not the way it works for most of us. For most of us, getting what you want means you have to want it enough to do whatever it takes to get it. So there's a different definition of what the word want means. Want isn't merely wishful thinking and idle dreaming. Wanting is really being dedicated to do whatever it takes to make something happen, however much effort is required. And there are people, as I said, that have connections with power and money. For those people, they go through their lives presuming, of course, without any question, that all they have to do is snap their fingers and they get whatever they want. For instance, when you or me, any of us, decide we might want to run for office in our town, let's say, that's first you have to make the decision, then you have to go out and do all this bullshit to try to make it happen, even though you're swimming upstream anyhow. You're like, running for office, running for mayor is like a salmon swimming upstream. And even if you make it to the end, you end up dying from it. But those people that routinely do win these elections, most of them are people who have these connections with power and money. Money and power, power and money. This endless cycle of money and power. Those people that have connections to that, those people that have the power and the money backing them up, all they have to do is snap their fingers and say, hey, I want to be mayor. Next thing you know, this person that nobody in town ever heard of 3 months ago is mayor. That's the way it worked in my town. That's what's going on. And the question is, what do you really want? Do you want that kind of a society where money and power are the only factors that actually have any weight, and where determination or qualification means nothing, and people saying, well, you know, it's a democracy, that means anybody can be president or school committee member or governor or senator? No, that's not how it is. That's just a bogus idea that you were brought up with, because the reality is the game belongs to those people with the ties to power and money. Those people are in, and if you're not one of those people, you're out. So that's my question: is that the kind of society is that what you want? Do you want such a society where privilege and connections to power and money are the thing that really counts, and that nothing else? If you don't have those connections with power and money and power, then you don't have a chance. Is that the kind of society you want? Because that's the kind of society that you have, and that's the kind of society you will continue to have as long as you continue to vote for these power and money people who snap their fingers and say, I want to be president, or I want to be mayor, I want to be governor, I want to be this, I want to be that. They snap their fingers, and power and money says, yes sir. Power and money says, right away sir, we'll no problem, we'll set it up for you. And that's the way it works. That's the way it worked in my town. Some guy that nobody ever heard of before said, hey, I'm going away for a year. I'm leaving the country. I'm going out of the country for a year. When I come back, it's going to be an election. I want to be mayor. Make me mayor. And he had connections with money and power. And they said, aye, aye, sir, right away. No problem. Don't you worry about it. We got it all set up for you. He goes away for a year, kills a bunch of people, comes back, says, hey, okay, am I mayor yet? I said, yeah, just about. Just wait until November, you'll be mayor. And that's the way it worked out. So is that the kind of town you want to live in? Is that the kind of society you want to live in? It's not the kind of society I want to live in. But the only way to change it is to stop voting for these people, these entitlement people that you never even heard of, who just happen to have connections with money and power and acting as if they have some kind of divine right to be running things. This is a red house, built in 1865. It's sold as a two-family house, and I believe that these two little structures coming out of the side of it, I believe that those were probably the original outhouses that were connected, but not an indoor bathroom. I think in 1865 they didn't have the indoor bathrooms, but they did have connected outhouses. That's what I think is that design, because in fact there's a couple other houses along the same street as this red house that look like they were built on the same design, like they were all, like that whole street was built in the same year or so, and they've all built by the same architect, and they've all got the same design with these two little things that look like maybe garage sheds, but I think they were original outhouses. And this is the old New England red paint, barn color paint, which kind of comes like from Sweden and Norway. They have a lot of this red paint on houses up in Scandinavia, and it comes from originally the iron ore that was used to color the paint. And I'm not sure if there was some practical reason that actually there was some reason for using iron in the paint aside from just the coloration of it. There might have been or there might not have been, but I think there's a slight possibility that they actually weren't just using iron to make the paint red, but that actually they were using the iron for some kind of a functional purpose in the paint, and the side result was that it made the paint red. In any case, this is a kind of a old New England house and barn, particularly barn color of this red paint.